Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of Art Bell. And this premiered on February the 9th of 19.
The Kingdom of God. This is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. From east of the Rockies forward at 1-800-825-5033. West of the Rockies, including Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. At 1-800-618-8255. First-time callers may reach out at area code 702-727-1222. And you may fax out at area code 702-727-8499. Please limit your faxes to one or two pages. This is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Here now again, here's Art.
Thank you, and good morning. Ed Ames, Major Ed Ames, is my guest. I've got something new for you here, and I mean brand new. In the world of telephones, there is now the Sanyo 917 digital cordless phone with a headset. This is absolutely remarkable, folks. It's a spread spectrum, high-end cordless phone with a headset. In other words, you put a headset, a headset over your head, and you've got an earpiece, and then a little microphone extending around the front of your mouth. In other words, hands-off telephone. You take the 917 and you clip it on your belt, and you can just sit there like a telephone operator, and you can talk to people. Actually, if you want to know the truth, the Seagrain Company has done this conversion to the Sanyo 917, and it is unique in the world. Nobody else has accomplished this with a sort of clear, crystal clear audio that the 917 delivers. The headset that Bob Crane has come up with is actually of a greater or higher quality audio-wise than the 917 itself. It plugs right into the side of the 917. It's absolutely remarkable. No one can listen to your conversations, obviously. It comes with a both over-the-head and over-the-ear headset. It's got a 1-year warranty through the Seagrain Company, and there has never, on the face of the globe, been anything like it. The 917 digital cordless phone with headset, a very limited quantity are available. $349.95. Again, $349.95. And remember, this spread spectrum telephone gets nigh on to a mile or better away from the base. So it is the most remarkable advance in technology I have ever seen. And again, it comes from the Seagrain Company. As a matter of fact, this is sold exclusively through the Seagrain Company. Call them in the morning if you want one at 1-800-522-8863. Hands-off telephone. 1-800-522-8863. As the phone you want the Ultra Team. The one Art Bell has on his Hot Rod Metro. Call 1-800-627-8800. It's like a heart transplant for your car. My Hot Rod Metro. All right, here once again is Major Ed Ames. A couple of faxes here. Art, maybe I'm missing something, but what I hear is, on one hand, through remote viewing, we learn we have the possibility of contact, or at least preparing for contact with other intelligences. Wonderful, exciting. Makes me want to learn this technique. On the other hand, though, through the precognizance of this same remote viewing, we see that all hell is about to break loose, and that the world could be quickly transformed into a Mad Max scenario. I sure hope we do have a soul, for this is a very mixed bag, and I'd like to know what we have coming, more than a preview of coming attractions. In other words, on the one hand, the great possibility of contact. On the other hand, the deterioration of the human race. And But I know, what can I say, Art? That all that at once, confluence of events.
Okay,
Mine is not the reason why.
I understand. All right, it's too weird for the Art Bell show. I guess Ed hasn't been listening to your show lately. Come on, Ed. If anyone can take it, we can. His audience, what's going on underneath Mars?
Something is waking up.
Oh, great.
Actually, something's been waking up for the last 2 years.
All right, we'll let that one hang. Art, please ask the Major if a person's belief system or artistic talents affect their ability to remote view. I have strong beliefs and cannot draw worth a darn.
The belief system does not. The training techniques effectively disallows your belief system from interfering with the target, with the data that's connected with your target. You're taught how to manage information, how to recognize your imagination from the target data. All that's effectively taught. That was one of the big aspects of the breakthrough. Artistically, people, it does not affect. I can't draw worth a darn, but I'm a good remote viewer. However, if you do have artistic talents, you can do something that other remote viewers can't. For instance, my vice president can actually sketch the face of a killer or killers or missing person. I can't do that. I have it in my mind by virtue of going through these protocols, but I don't have the skill of sketching. I have the skill of remote viewing.
I don't either. I draw stupid people.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, Major Names, you've managed to scare everyone. This is from Jackie. Now, how about telling us how to survive it all?
There are sanctuaries, evidently, that places where that will be less affected by the Mad Max scenario. I've talked about these before too. I've spent an extensive amount of time myself looking at this idea of sanctuaries. We know that areas based upon our data, our remote viewing data, and individuals can do this for themselves by using that search term, putting their name down and qualifying with the idea of a sanctuary. When viewers do this, they sketch places that are consistently in the same areas. Our European students sketch areas around the Liechtenstein, Switzerland region. North Americans, we get places in northern Montana and in eastern British Columbia. There are places in Polynesia, near the Hawaiian Islands, some of the Hawaiian Islands. Where else have I seen? I think those are the only ones I know of so far.
What about on a personal basis? I was talking recently to somebody who said, we have progressed people into the future through hypnosis, and we have asked them to write their names. Their response to us was they couldn't write their names because they weren't there.
They're dead. Many people will die, Art. Many people die. That's what scared us so much as remote viewers. As we got into the mid-90s, remote viewing the years ahead, some of us were perceiving many people that weren't there. Now, we thought this was some type of a transcendental event that was happening globally. It's transcendental, all right. Our bodies are gone because we die. Now, many people die.
Okay, East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Major Ed Dames. Hello. Hi.
This is Aaron from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hi, Aaron.
I had a couple of questions for Mr. Dames.
Sure.
First one is, have you ever remote viewed on the subject of reverse speech?
Oh, we'll ask about that here in a second. Okay.
And second one is, what kind of role, if any, in your opinion, does prayer take in this issue? Like, does prayer or personal spiritual betterment or whatever have any influence on remote viewing of the future?
All right. The last first, really good question. Prayer. I remember one time we had you on the air with Father Malachi Martin, and we talked a lot about spiritual things and remote viewing. And how does prayer enter into it?
Well, it acts as a switch when it's well connected. It is very effective. I have mentioned often before that
I'm a firm believer in angels because if you remote view them, that idea, you get a plethora of data. The way, let me answer it this way. I'm almost 50, and I don't know how much longer I'll have to live. I haven't remote viewed my own death. There's certain things I want to do. But one of the search terms that I decided to use one day was the idea of a divine will.
Divine will.
Yeah, sort of a destiny.
Sure.
And I played around with this for a number of years, looking at the idea of, okay, if there's a divine will, how do I match my own will with that? What happens when I remote view divine will and qualify it with me, Ed? And what I come up with is a certain set of conditions, a trajectory for myself that was one that I was not on. In other words, places that I would be, things that I would be doing that I was describing as a remote viewer that I was not doing at the time. The things that I thought I wanted to do were not matching the remote viewing data I was getting when I was remote viewing that idea. Divine will.
It must have been very disturbing.
It wasn't disturbing because the data that I was getting was something that I could not have imagined nor would have ever thought about. But it turned out to be something that fulfilled me and made me happier than I could ever have been had I second guessed what I wanted in life. And some of that dealt with Project Starman, by the way.
Right.
And with teaching remote viewing to children, which I had not thought about.
Children are faster learners, aren't they?
They are. And so I decided, what the heck, kind of an insurance policy, go with the winning team, and I jumped on that ship. And it's been a much more fulfilling life. That's not to say I'm 100% happy, but I believe I'm a lot happier now, a lot happier than I would have been had I stayed on the particular track I was on prior to using remote viewing to attack that particular search term.
Okay. You asked about reverse speech. David John Oates does something called reverse speech, which appears to reveal what a person is really thinking in reverse, and it seems quite clear and hard to dispute. I assume that you've heard it probably on the program. You've heard David.
Yes.
What do you make of it?
I don't really know, Art. We have one of my graduates from the commercial course that I taught is an apprentice of David's, and he would be in a far better position to comment on that. You'll see him, Dr. Johnson on Module 2. He is a bearded individual. He is an apprentice of David Oates, and that is a far better person to ask that question.
All right. We're going to have David Oates on Thursday night, Friday morning, and he's going to reverse among other people. Dr. Zahia Oas, who is the Antiquities Director for Giza, in other words, the plateau, the Sphinx, the pyramid, and all the rest of it. And we did a 2-hour interview with Dr. Oas, a very interesting individual. Is there anything you can tell the audience about the Great Pyramid, about the Sphinx, about what may or may not be below the Sphinx? I can only imagine it would be a target you couldn't resist.
Actually, I couldn't resist it personally, but many of my former students could not. It was a very intriguing project for them. To me, it was kind of boring, but what we found was that there is a chamber under the left paw, I guess you call it.
The Sphinx,
yes, it's there. It has not been opened, but what was surprising to me is from that chamber is a long, very long dog-legged tunnel that goes to one of the pyramids.
Oh boy.
It actually proceeds away from that chamber, goes under the desert sand, does a dog leg, and proceeds to one of the pyramids. And that was a surprise to me.
It brings a lot of things home for me. Believe me, a lot of us believe that tunnel is indeed there. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Major Ed Dames. Hello.
Hi, this is Gail in California.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, I have a question for Ed Dames. Hi, Ed Dames. My name is Gail, and attempted astral projection and I've been unsuccessful, and I wanted to know, does remote viewing have anything to do with that, or is there anything you know about it that I should be cautious not to do it?
All right, that's a really good question. Remote viewing and astral projection have something or another in common, don't they?
No, they have nothing in common. One is mind, and the other one, remote viewing avails itself of mind and body.
Yes.
Astral projection is something totally different.
Yes, but the realms in which you travel.
Negative. That is not true.
That's not true.
That is not true. It is a totally different phenomenon. Astral projection is more akin to one's, let's say, one's essence or perhaps soul actually extruding from the body and displacing.
Yeah, but you remember when you were out with Malachi Martin, you were talking about some of the similarities of this astral plane.
The similarities in what we could perceive in terms of another dimension. But one is going there, the other is perceiving it. One would be, for instance, a good analogy would be if we're looking at the astral plane through binoculars from a distance, that would be remote viewing. If we're floating up into it, that would be astral projection.
I've got you. All right. Okay, that makes sense. First time caller line, you're on the air with Major and James. Hello.
Hi, my name is Garrett. I'm calling from State College, Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
Two questions. One is, do you perceive El Nino as being strictly a natural Earth phenomenon? And thing number two, are you dealing with electromagnetic signatures much along the lines of Project Rainbow and Project Phoenix of the Philadelphia experiment? In terms of remote viewing? Yes. Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no electromagnetics whatsoever. What is the signature that you're dealing with exactly? It is a pattern, an information pattern. Think of the universe as patterns of information, just information, a single dimension or a field. All we're doing is turning our attention, our conscious attention, to one of those patterns at a time. Downloading information in terms of linear time. We're hanging a label on that. That's all. The patterns of information are there. We search our memory for labels. We hang a label on the information pattern. Go back and forth in statistical manner. We grab a pattern, hang a label. Grab a pattern, hang a label. And we fill in it's like collecting pieces of a puzzle and reassembling the pieces. So there's no energetics involved whatsoever. Okay.
All right, thank you.
In the 60s, it was thought that there was. In fact, I as a student, assumed that there were energetics involved. But when we realized that we were perceiving matter faster than light could send it to us, we were perceiving data faster than light, faster than the speed of light, we realized that something may be wrong. If you're familiar with the idea of scalars,
Oh yes.
in electromagnetic theory, think of this as a field or a scalar wave. You must think of it as a wave, think of it as a scalar wave, and not a vector.
All right, El Nino, it really has turned out to be $1 billion baby. I mean, it's awful, and the weather is absolutely horrendous. Scientists said that El Nino was a lessening, that there wouldn't be very much impact at all. Now we know that certainly is not true. The storms are lined up like so many soldiers out there smashing into the West Coast, continuing east, giving everybody $1 billion headaches. Is this just a short-term phenomenon, or is it going to keep getting worse?
The weather will be consistently erratic, as I've mentioned. We have not looked at the El Nino, the causes of El Nino, but we have, as I mentioned before, we used remote viewing to investigate the ozone loss. Okay. In fact, there was a project that we did for the Human Potential Foundation years ago, sponsored by Lawrence Rockefeller, I believe. If memory serves me right, and the project was entitled "Planetary Ozone Depletion: Projected Consequences and Remedial Technologies," and there were no remedial technologies. What we found in that project was that the ozone ebb and flow annually normal ebb and flow was natural, but the human behavior had pushed it over the brink, had pushed it beyond the point where the natural phenomenon could reacquire homeostasis or equilibrium, for it to go back to normal. We pushed it over the brink.
Well, I recall the frogs, the deformities, your predictions of all of that, and much more that all came to pass. Now it's moved way beyond that. Simple-celled organisms in Antarctica beginning to show actual genetic change.
And male organisms worldwide becoming sterile.
That also occurring, yes.
Or hermaphroditic.
People can now get Module 1 and Module 2, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there,
but it's finished, it's been completed.
Is there going to be a Module 3?
There is not. We do not have, the company is becoming overcome by events. Module 3s were a series of professional and technical tapes designed for specific areas, law enforcement, military intelligence, medical field, those kinds of things.
Professionals.
That's right. What we're doing now is we're teaching professionals free of charge on our website. We're using the website as a platform to teach advanced training for individuals who learn Module 1 and 2, who master those, and then we're teaching the specifics on the website.
Okay, total of how many tapes there?
5 tapes.
5 tapes.
4 months to master them.
All right, now, the number to get those tapes, 1-800-556-0391, or from Alaska or Hawaii,
Alaska and Canada.
And Canada, all right, 1-888-878-0333. And you would guess that people would have to spend about how long with those tapes to become proficient?
For someone with above average IQ, or an average IQ, we're talking 3 to 4 months working an hour a day, at least every other day. You can run it at a slower pace or at a faster pace. That's the minimum amount of time that one will require to master those modules and solve simple problems.
All right, for somebody who calls now, when would they expect delivery?
Within 10 days. Actually, the Alaska and Canada number is, for people in Alaska and Canada, is a direct number to our office.
Okay, and hold tight for the top of the hour. We'll be right back in some markets. This is Coast to Coast AM. I'm Art Bell. Stay right
Kingdom of God. From east of the Rockies, dial 1-800-825-5033. West of the Rockies, including Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico, 1-800-618-8255. Coastline dwellers may reach out at area code 702-727-1222. And you may call her on the wildcard line at area code 702-727-1295. To reach out from outside the U.S., first dial your access number to the USA. Then 800-893-0903. This is Coast to Coast AM. From the Kingdom of High with Art Bell.
Love has got to be one of the most powerful emotions, one of the most powerful forces, I think, in the universe. And it is expressed just once a year on Valentine's Day. Don't let it slip through your fingers. That's 1-800-557-4627. How would you like to have a security guard on duty in your home 24 hours a day? Well, here's the next best thing. I've got the TA2000. It's a full-function telephone and oh, so much more. You see, it's also a revolutionary home security system that plugs directly into a standard phone jack. The TA2000 features an infrared motion detector, smoke detector, and medical emergency button. When any sort of emergency occurs, the TA2000 automatically begins dialing 9 pre-programmed numbers until someone answers. The recipient is alerted as to what kind of emergency is being reported and can react accordingly. Check them out on the web at www.911home.com. The TA2000 normally sells for $249.95 with a 1-year guarantee. But here's the Art Bell special. Tell them I told you to call, and the price becomes $199.95. To order, call Tell Alert at 1-888-541-1306. That's 1-888-541-1306. I've got the TA2000 on duty protecting my home with no monthly monitoring fees, and you can do the same. Simply call 1-888-541-1306. All right, everybody. Again, on my website right now, the most remarkable UFO photographs that I think I've ever seen. They come from Mexico City. Sightings there the 6th of August, and they show a craft, what appears to be a saucer, passing right through a high-rise building in Mexico City. They're very graphic. They are in sequence from a video that is going to be shown later in the month. This will also be, these photographs will be a target that Major Dames is going to take on. And here's another one for you, Major. We have Dr. Roger Lear and Daryl Sims, who's going to be on the program again tomorrow night, with electron scanning microscope photographs of implants, apparent alien implants taken out, surgically removed from human beings. And we've got those photographs on the website. I take it they would make a decent target.
They would. They're very specific. They're unequivocal. There's a photograph. That's the target. Describe it and backtrack it through time and look at its origin. We did that with one so-called implant that was up on your website about a year ago, 2 years ago.
That was from John Max.
Oh, okay. I guess it was about 2 years ago.
That's right.
In that case, it was not alien in nature. Do you remember I explained that as a little girl, the subject had fallen down and actually inhaled a feather, a bird feather, that worked its way up into her sinus cavity. And, did I explain that to you?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I'm not surprised you used it as a target.
Yeah, it was a very interesting target.
All right.
These would be good training targets.
Could you ask Major Dames if he and or his associates have done any remote viewing on the subject of God?
Yes, we have, including just for fun, the origin of God, those kinds of things. For Carl Jung, those individuals who are studying Carl Jung, the famous psychologist in the 20th century, he thought that he studied the language of the unconscious. What tactical remote viewing is the alphabet of the unconscious.